Grilled ribs are a summertime classic. If you're like me, you've probably developed your own process over time of your favorite way of cooking your ribs. And I know I have mine. It's typically baked in the oven. But if you've watched some of our other videos, you know that I'm becoming a big fan of the sous vide slow method of cooking. So what I want to do is compare my tried and true method of cooking ribs to cooking them in the sous vide. And then we're going to compare and see which one really tastes better. So let's get started. I've got 2 racks of baby back ribs here. I've got my spice rub. Now you can use your own spice rub, your favorite store-bought spice rub, or you can check out our link to our video up above here for my barbecue and spice rub recipe, which is what I'm using today. So the first thing we need to do is get this membrane off the back of these ribs. So we're going to grab a towel and kind of grab the edge of it and then just peel it off. And this is something that just doesn't break down regardless of whether you're sous videing or baking or grilling your ribs. It's just not something that breaks down, so we want to get rid of it. Okay, we got rid of the membrane. You can see it's nice and clean, and these ribs are pretty lean, so there's no need to do any additional trimming. 1 rack's going to go in the refrigerator, rest overnight in our spice rub to get the spices incorporated into the meat. The next rib is going to go directly into the sous vide. So the first thing we're going to do is get some good old yellow mustard. Any brand will do. And we're going to cover the back. And what we're doing here is we're creating a nice wet surface for our dry rub to stick to. Just a nice thin coating. Okay, let's get our towel here and our dry rub. Then we're going to flip to our front side. Grab our towel again. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to hit this with some yellow mustard. Rub that into the surface of the meat. Grab our spice rub and get a good coating on there. All right, as I mentioned, one of these is going to go in the refrigerator. I'm going to plastic wrap it and put it in the refrigerator overnight. And this one we're going to prepare for the sous vide. The first step of the process is to get these bags sealed for their sous vide bath. And again, we're using an Innova brand sous vide and vacuum sealer. Those are available on our Amazon page, link down below if you're interested. So the first thing we need to do is remove as much air as we can out of these bags. So we're going to go ahead and start the vacuum process. We're now going to check for leaks and make sure that that is well sealed. And that one looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and get our next bag into the vacuum sealer and repeat the process. We've got our water set to 155 degrees, and I've got these clips that are going to hold each bag in place. So the process is the Innova is going to, number one, keep the temperature at a solid 155 degrees for us, but it also continuously circulates the water around the product so we get nice, even cooking. The lid will help slow down the evaporation process. During the 24 hours, you're probably going to have to add a little bit of water to this every 4 to 6, maybe 8 hours or so. But in 24 hours, we're going to have some delicious ribs ready for the grill. Our ribs are done with their respective cooking methods. They've had a chance to cool down, and let's take a look at what we got. The one here on the right spent about an hour and a half in a 350-degree oven, and you can see it's got some decent color on it. And then the one over here on the left was in our sous vide for 24 hours, and you can see it doesn't have much color on it. That's primarily because the meat cooked in its own juices. Now we're gonna need some barbecue sauce to grill these up. So over my shoulder on the stove, I made another batch of barbecue sauce. Check out our link for our barbecue sauce recipe. So we're gonna get these to the grill, and then we're gonna eat some ribs. And we are out at the grill. We're gonna start with the sous vide ribs over here. And we're gonna go with our oven baked ribs over here. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get some barbecue sauce on these guys so we can start to get some caramelization on there. Just kind of a first coat will be kind of a light coat. We'll go ahead and flip these guys over. They've been cooking for about 3 minutes or so on this bottom side. We'll get a nice coating of sauce on the back side. And then we'll check these in another 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to take a look at our ribs. First, we're going to turn over the sous vide side, and then our baked ribs. We're going to go ahead and touch these up with just a little bit more of our homemade barbecue sauce. And we're going to get these off the grill and get these back inside and give them a taste test. Right away, you can see a little bit of color difference between the baked rib and the sous vide rib. Over here on my right, the baked rib has a nice dark, deep color with really nice caramelization. The sous vide rib, not quite as dark. We got some good color over here on the grill, but the cooking methods were basically the same, just except baked and sous vide. So now we're going to cut into these and give these a try. So just in the cutting, I could feel a little bit of difference between the two ribs. This one feels a little bit more dry. This one kind of, the knife went right through the rib. So the first thing I'm going to do is try the baked rib. Kind of everything that I expect. This is my tried and true method here that I do, the baked rib. It's a little bit on the drier side. It has a nice chew and texture to it. Now we're going to go ahead and dig in and try the sous vide rib. Wow, now I don't know if you can see here, but the sous vide rib actually just fell right off of the bone, and you can see here. The meat is just completely falling off the bone. The meat is a little more moist than the baked rib. Oh, and it's just melt in your mouth, delicious. Let's go back to the baked rib here, and you can kind of see the texture of the baked rib is just a little bit darker, and you can see it comes off the bone, but it kind of hangs on just a little bit. So it has a completely different texture. So what's the verdict here? If you don't have the time, these ribs in the oven for an hour, on the grill for about 15 minutes, you're good to go. But if you have the time, the 24-hour sous vide ribs are just phenomenal. They fall off the bone. They have a wonderful meaty texture. They're a little bit more moist and delicious than the baked rib. So really, I gotta say, with every video I do, I'm becoming more and more of a bigger fan of the sous vide method of cooking. Well, thanks so much, guys, for following along with the taste test. Be sure and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like this video. We've got some great stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see you next time.